Okay, so we're diving deep today
Yeah.
into the question of which creepypasta character is scarier,
Right.
SONIC.EXE or SALLY.EXE.
Okay.
And just to like get everyone on the same page, we're talking about internet horror stories.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
these often based on familiar characters, but like gone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And .exe stories specifically, they kind of play on this idea of like corrupted game files,
Right. Right. Right.
which adds a whole other layer of fear to it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like technology going wrong. You know, it's a pretty primal fear at this point.
Right, exactly. Like the things that we rely on every day suddenly turning against us.
Yeah. And, you know, even with limited source material, it's really interesting to kind of pick apart what makes these characters so scary.
Totally. And maybe even like why some people find one creepier than the other.
Yeah, exactly. Like, is it the visuals, the story, the psychological elements?
Right. It's like a sneak peek into this like bigger discussion, and it just leaves you wanting more.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's start with the visuals. I
Yeah.
mean, creepypastas are known for their disturbing imagery. But how does that play out with SONIC.EXE and SALLY.EXE specifically?
Well, with SONIC.EXE, I mean, the classic image is those hyper-realistic bloodshot eyes, you know?
Oh, God.
Staring right at you, that twisted grin.
Yeah.
Which is like the opposite of Sonic's usual cheerfulness.
Oh, totally.
Like a corrupted version of your childhood.
Right. And that just messes with you on like such a deep level.
Absolutely.
Ugh. Yeah, those images just like, they stick with you.
They do.
What about SALLY.EXE, though? Is it the same kind of visual horror?
It can be, but some depictions of SALLY.EXE take a slightly different approach.
Okay.
Instead of outright gore, you might see imagery that focuses on her being broken or manipulated.
Oh, wow.
Her once innocent features, you know, twisted into something more sinister.
So it's like they tap into different fears then.
Right.
SONIC.EXE is more like that in-your-face horror.
Yeah,
SALLY.EXE is more like Innocence Lost, which is creepy in its own way.
exactly. And this kind of ties into the whole psychological horror aspect. Some interpretations of SONIC.EXE really focus on his sadistic nature.
Yeah.
His desire to inflict pain and torment his victims.
Right, like he's taking pleasure in the fear he creates,
Mm-hmm.
which is definitely disturbing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But where does SALLY.EXE fit into that then?
With SALLY.EXE, the psychological horror might revolve more around themes of betrayal or manipulation.
Okay.
Imagine Sally, who was always Sonic's trusted friend,
Right.
now turned against him and everyone else.
Oh, that's rough.
That violation of trust can be really unsettling.
Oh, yeah. It's almost scarier in a way because it's unexpected.
Right.
You think you're safe and then bam.
The character you thought you knew was the threat.
Totally. And that's where I think the whole nostalgia as a weapon thing comes into play.
Yeah.
You know, they're both twisted versions of characters we loved as kids.
Right. It's not just some random monster.
It's
It's a corruption of something pure.